My name is Clara Reynolds, and I am 28 years old. I live in the charming little town of Riverstone, nestled by a meandering river surrounded by lush green hills. My life here is a routine I find somewhat comforting, but also painfully mundane. I am known around town for my enthusiasm and warmth, along with my quirky collection of handmade jewelry that I often sell at local craft fairs. Yet, beyond that cheerful smile lies a yearning for something more, something deeper. I dream of creating, sharing, touching lives through creativity, and all of that excitement began with my YouTube channel. Starting my channel was not just an impulsive decision, it represented a path of liberation from the ordinary. I poured my heart and soul into creating content. Each video was a labor of love. I painted murals, crafted intricate jewelry, and shared tips on self-expression through art, gaining a modest following of 2,000 subscribers and just shy of 2,000 hours of watch time. It was hard work that required many late nights and early mornings, filming and editing, hoping for a spark that would reach an audience. But lately, I felt like my hard work was worth little, like trying to row upstream against a furious current. The views were stagnant, and the enthusiasm I used to feel was waning under the weight of expectations and eventual disappointment. To make matters worse, I found myself amidst an unsettling rivalry with a fellow YouTuber named Brittany Holloway, someone who seemed to have everything handed to her on a silver platter. With her flashy editing and lip-syncing videos, she amassed a following with little effort, while I struggled to keep my audience engaged as my passion felt draining. It was disheartening to see my friend gaining traction while I barely scraped together views. My heart sank further when I discovered that she had made a mocking video about me, filled with jabs at my art style, calling my creations faded attempts at creativity. It felt as if the breath was knocked out of me, the bitterness settled in like a heavy blanket. As the reality of my situation hit, I felt overwhelmed. It was not just about the numbers, it was about sharing something I loved, and I felt that slipping away. I began reevaluating everything from my methods to my self-worth. I tried everything I could think of to raise my engagement. I started posting content more frequently, participated in collaborations, and even tried giveaways to attract more viewers. But nothing worked. The views continued to trickle in slowly, like a dry creek. Perhaps what hurt the most was the accompanying whispers around town. People were beginning to talk about me, about my failures. Those whispers seeped through my dreams, polluting them with doubt and frustration. One day, I arrived at my local cafe, hoping a warm cup of coffee would soothe my fraying nerves. As I walked in, there was Brittany, animatedly discussing her latest video release with a couple of friends nearby. I tried to ignore her, but those sharp laughs cut through my composure. At that moment, a wave of anger washed over me, mingling with sorrow. Why did success find its way to someone who didn't seem to truly care about her audience, while I remained stuck in mediocrity? I decided I could not let her laughter continue to haunt me. I would show her that hard work pays off, that I was worthy, but every attempt I made only added salt to my wounds. Things got worse when I discovered that Brittany was planning yet another video, one that included a section about my channel. I knew this was her way of eliminating the competition, of creating a narrative that I was failing at something I loved. I could have shut her down right then and there, confronted her, but I was uncertain of myself. Instead, I felt defeated, nothing but an afterthought in a story where she was the protagonist. I withdrew further into my shell, thinking maybe it was better to just close my channel for good. The bitterness of my situation was too much to bear, but something ignited inside me one evening as I scrolled through the comments on one of Brittany's videos that belittled my art. I read her fans complimenting everything she did while casting my passion aside like it did not matter. Late that night, with my heart racing and a fire in my soul, a plan began to form in my mind. My first thought was to unleash a revenge of sorts, but I had to measure it carefully. Instead of descending into malicious acts, I decided to formulate a strategic response that could hit Brittany where it hurt most. I was tired of feeling powerless. I would take control in a creative way. I spent weeks compiling the most outrageous moments from Brittany's videos, pulling clips where she had been disingenuous. I crafted my own video that not only called out her lack of authenticity, but showcased my journey, struggles, and the heart behind my art. I worked tirelessly, scripting, editing, and pouring everything I had into this new creation. I wanted it to be engaging and powerful, something more than just a reaction video. I wanted to tell my story interwoven with the reality of what it meant to be a creator. The day I posted the video, my heart raced as I hit publish. For the first time in ages, I felt a thrill tightening my chest. I watched the views rise slowly, and words flooded in from viewers who resonated with my struggle. The support was overwhelming, filling me with a warmth I had not felt in ages. But then, like the chill of evening closing in, I felt the nausea of fear wash over me when a response emerged from Brittany, asserting her dominance and diminishing my experience. She released a counter video, promoting herself as the underdog and making me the villain. I had unknowingly entered a dangerous game, and now I felt the stakes had become painfully high. The comments section of my video exploded. Suddenly, my world spun around me as both sides of the viewers clashed through fiery arguments. I realized this was more than just a feud between creators. It had turned into a battleground where authenticity and creativity clashed with popularity and manufactured personas. I struggled to maintain my composure as the negativity intensified. In moments where I wanted to falter, to retreat, the friends and loyal viewers I had gained reminded me why I had started in the first place. They rallied behind me, reminding me of the importance of being true to oneself. But the conflict reached a boiling point when I discovered Brittany had sent over a dozen reports to my channel, trying to shut me down. I felt that icy grip of panic. It was like being pushed to the edge of a cliff, knowing I could fall into nothingness. I had built something from the ground up, and it felt like it was on the brink of being dismantled by someone selfishly holding onto their superficial platform. The fear of losing everything I had poured my heart into shook my core. In those dark hours, I thought of the stagnant views, the bitter words, and all of the moments I had almost given up. Yet this was my creation, this was my journey, and I refused to let it end like this. I decided to fully embrace the messy passion within me, to take every ounce of strength I had left and fight back with what made me unique. I wrote a heartfelt letter expressing my experiences and emotions, detailing the struggle of creativity and how even the strongest minds encounter doubt. I shared it on all my platforms, hoping it might resonate with those who felt they were dismissed, unworthy. The floodgates opened, and people began sharing their stories. My phone buzzed nonstop, and I saw viewers rallying behind me, leaving comments filled with encouragement. No longer was I just an artist competing with another. I became part of a community where we elevated each other, moments brimming with empathy flooded in. As I stayed true to my narrative and showed the beauty in vulnerability, the outcome morphed into something I had never expected. My views shot up, the subscriber count climbed, and suddenly I had people reaching out to collaborate, to create, to build something real. Eventually, I received an unexpected message from Brittany, one I thought I would never get. It was in the form of an apology. She admitted, after all that had transpired, she had felt threatened by my authenticity. Her disbelief at the amount of interaction my video had stirred led her to lash out in a desperate attempt to hold onto her popularity. I did not forget the past or how it had impacted my journey, but I felt something shift within me. I decided to respond with grace, inviting her to a public discussion about our experiences as creators. Maybe there was hope that sharing stories could bridge the gap, a chance for colliding worlds to harmonize. In the days that followed, I embraced this new path with open arms. What had once felt like a chain around my spirit transformed into freedom when I understood the power of honesty. I stood up, not just for myself, but for everyone who has ever felt unheard or belittled. The beauty in this story is not about revenge through harsh words, but about finding clarity in chaos, turning conflict into a collaborative melody. My channel flourished, but more importantly, it served as a beacon for those who needed to find solace and connection within art and community. Now, in my corners of Riverstone, I stand stronger, reflecting on how challenging my journey transformed me. As a creator, I embrace my imperfections, knowing that hard work does pay off eventually, just as resilience paints the path toward true fulfillment. It is never simply about one's journey alone. It is about lifting each other in a world overflowing with creativity. I am Clara Reynolds, and while my adventure may have begun in solitude, it expanded into a colorful tapestry entwined with newfound friends, a vibrant journey woven from threads of courage and passion.